and welcome to a special edition of This Racing Live, coming to you from the beautiful Caribbean island of Barbados. Coming up in the show, we'll be showing you what happened in the Jockeys Challenge between Team Barbados and Team International. And we'll be meeting two members of Team International, Sammy Jo Bell, who had a wonderful season in the UK, and also Racing UK ambassador Paul Mulrennan, who rode his first Group 1 winner when Mecca's Angel won the Nunthorpe. And in addition, we'll also be finding out what life in Barbados is really like as we sample some of the culture. Chairman of the Barbados Breeders Association and local hotelier Peter Odell explained why he got involved in the Jockeys Challenge.
Well, apart from the fact that I am very involved in racing and I'm also president of the Barbados Star Red Breeders Association, I really felt from the perspective of a tourism point of view that really and truly all of us have to step into the plate to help, and that was our way of showing support for our industry, and obviously in helping tourism, but we're also helping the racing. It's the whole link of Barbados and England, and not only in racing, in every aspect of it, in trade, industry, tourism, it's always been there. And obviously because we are very British sort of, you know, they call it Little England. They've called Barbados Little England for years. And because of that connection, it's always been a lot easier for us to sort of do different projects which can link the UK with Barbados. So, and of course, a lot of us who have been in racing, we've always bought our horses from England. We've always had that sort of connection. We still do a lot of stuff out of the UK. And some of us actually have horses racing in the UK as well. One of the things that I said when we first started this was that Barbados has a very strong race in the first half of the year. This is our opportunity to create a second strong race in the second half of the year. I think it works perfectly. So, and it works well with the British season, because you end your flat season, and that's just the start of our winter season.
The International Jockeys Challenge is in its third year, and making their first appearance on the international team were Sammy Jo Bell and Paul Mulrennan. Sammy Jo had a season that she couldn't have dreamt of in 2015.
I hoped to ride out my claim from a 5 to a 3, so that was 20 winners, which I thought was ambitious enough. So after 28 winners this year, it's been good.
And the way things started, you kept the tempo up pretty much all season long, didn't you?
Yeah, it started off good and the ball got rolling, and you know, when you're riding with confidence, everything happens how you want it to happen. And all year it sort of was quite level, you know, and it was a good year throughout, really.
And a lot of us will know that the high point for you was the Sugar Cup. How did you view it all?
I just thought it was the most amazing thing ever, really, to be honest. To get the call up to actually participate in it was great to start with, and you know, the media and the hype before it really was amazing. And on the day I did feel slightly pressured because there was such a build up towards it, but it was definitely the best day of my career, you know.
But the way the day went, it was quite incredible. You were the first woman to win the Silver Saddle, the Alistair Haggis Silver Saddle.
Yeah, it was just unbelievable. To have a winner was just great, and to have two win the Silver Saddle was just something like that dreams are made of, really. You know, it's like what I want to do with my job, and it happened, and it was just amazing. And
when you look ahead to what you've done, or when you look ahead to the year coming and put in perspective what you've done this year, could you possibly have ambitions for 2016 yet?
Not really, because I think it's going to be hard to better this year, but I'll just keep my head down and see if I can keep riding in the winter, you know, and just see how next year goes. But as regards this year, it's been so good that I'm not quite sure if I could better it next year.
Well, you've done pretty well this year domestically, but it has meant that you've got an invite here to Barbados.
Yeah, it's just fantastic. When I got the call to say that I was coming here, I definitely didn't have to think twice about it. I just thought it was amazing, and the whole thing has just been brilliant, and you know, it's really nice to be part of something like this.
For Paul Mulrennan, 2015 was a real breakthrough season, capped with a first Group 1 success on Mecca's Angel for long-standing ally Michael Dodds.
Michael, he's very straightforward and what I call a real man's man. You know, if he's got a problem with me, he'll tell me, and then that's it, it's done. I don't dwell on it. If I give on a bad ride or whatever, just he'll say his bit and that's it, done. He's a good man to ride for in the race, doesn't really tie down to too many instructions. he's a good eye for a horse. He knows his stuff, buying yearlings and that, and you've seen what a good job he's done with Mecca's Angel this year and Eastern Angel. He's just a good guy, really.
So you talk about, at the start of the year, you've pointed Racing UK viewers in the direction of Mecca's Angel early on. What about when Eastern Angel came into your thoughts and the ability she showed?
Yeah, no, always from day one. I remember her first bit of work on the grass, we're like, this is decent, but obviously, you never know how they're going to keep progression. But one thing with her, she has a great attitude, and she won first time out.
Musselburgh.
It was only a 3-runner race, but she won hands and heels, easy. So we've got something on our hands here.
Yeah.
Then we went to Beverley, and she just missed a break, half a beat, and they ended up being nearly last on the fence. And it opened up, and she just went through them like knife through a butter. Yeah. Again, didn't have to pick the stick up. And I remember walking in afterwards, and Mickey Easterby come up to me and says, "You'll win the Queen Mary on that." And well, we would have done it.
9 out of 10 years.
9 out of 10 years, we would have won it. Only we bumped into Acapulco.
Well, what was your feeling on that day? I mean, we'd all heard the reputation of Acapulco, but were you worried that you were up against something that was not quite normal?
I was real confident going into the race until I got down to the start, and I was just stood around the front of the gates next to Ryan Moore, and I was like, that's like a colt, that. It looks like it should be running the King's Stand, but anyway, she ran a great race that day, Eastern Angel. It's done us all proud,
Mecca's Angel, in France, first time up, she produced a performance that every expert in racing suddenly turned around and went, my goodness, she is the real deal.
Yeah. Listen, we always knew she was good, but even that day, it was like, we weren't drawn great. She was out of the gates like a rocket, and I was taking her back at halfway because I didn't want to get there too soon. And I just give her a squeeze, and she just took off. I didn't even have to lay a hand on her, That was then we realised, she's definitely going to win this Group 1. Just when.
And obviously, we know at that point that a lot of how she was going to be campaigned was dictated by the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, how important will that be, just before we talk about going forward with her for next year? Will we only see her when there's cut in the ground?
She'll run on good ground, safe ground, but she doesn't want it hard. You've seen her when she just got beat in Ireland. She just wouldn't let herself down there. Yeah. She's a better filly when it's just good ground or just a slight ease in the ground. She's exceptional.
So she didn't go to Ascot, but obviously at Ascot you experienced Acapulco first up. Yeah. So when you headed to York for the Nunthorpe Stakes, what was your thought about that? Because the 2-year-old getting all that weight, being the size of horse that she was, half the country had written anything else off.
Yeah, this is Michael Dodsfield. He said to me, well, how would you compare Eastern Angel to Mecca's Angel? I'm like, she's not as good as Mecca's Angel, so that was just the way we left it. He said, ride your own race, do your own thing. We were drawn in the middle. You can't worry about anything else. And as it happened, we got a lovely lead off the American filly. It gave me a nice lead to inside the furlong pole, and the rest is history.
Well, I'd just like to take you back to the night before that race, if you don't mind, because I understand from a little birdie has told me that you did something unusual because you went and slept on your own that night. Obviously, thinking a lot about the ride, and you went off on your own to the spare room or your Scarlet's room, and slept there.
Yeah,
what was happening that night?
Oh, it's just the race was going through my head. You know what I mean? It's every jockey's dream to win a Group 1, and to do it at York as well. Do you know what I mean? I was just thinking, the ground's here now, everything's A1. We just need a bit of luck now. Don't fall off her. Don't miss the break.
Yeah. Well, you were very confident. I remember seeing you on the track on the day before racing started. And we had a very brief conversation about it. And you left, and your last words to me as you left was, I think she'll win.
Yeah.
What does that confidence do when you're about to ride a race like that for you?
I think confidence is everything from a jockey's point of view. If you're going out there negative, worrying about different things, that goes through the reins to the horse. So you've got to be confident. I've always been very confident in her ability. I ride her work all the time. I know what she can do. So, and when we got there, the ground was just perfect. York, for me, I think it's the best track in the country. William Darby does an exceptional job with the ground there. So we got there and everything was spot on.
So you say Acapulco gave you a lovely lead into the race, but the moment from a furlong and a half out to the winning line, your filly just took off. I mean, she had the afterburners on, and she actually hit the line really hard at the end. She was running hard through the line, wasn't she?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I've said afterwards, if only the July Cup, if there was a bit of rain about, I'm adamant she'll get the 6 furlongs. She proved that day at York, she's doing all her best work inside the last furlong, and I couldn't pull her up after the race, I think she would get 6 furlongs,
It was quite emotional.
Yeah.
After that race.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind?
I was fine actually, I was grand. We did the parade up the track, everything was running smooth, and then when I got into the winners' enclosure, the atmosphere was just overwhelming, to be honest with you. And you know, I see my family there and all the owners. And I was there when Frankel won.
Yeah.
He got a good, you know, good roar, but
Yeah.
what she got was unbelievable, you know.
And looking at what Mecca's Angel can achieve next year, and indeed Eastern Angel, I mean, have you got any thoughts about where Eastern Angel, first of all, what sort of horse she might develop into as a 3-year-old?
Yeah, I mean, it's a brave statement, but I mean, she is better than what Mecca's Angel was at 2, you know, and you've seen what Mecca's Angel's gone on to do, but so I'm not saying Eastern Angel's going to be the next, but you know, she is a very good filly, you know, so it's something to look forward to.
And Mecca's Angel, you can see her next year, providing she gets her ground,
Yeah.
being the boss at 5 and possibly 6 furlongs?
Yeah, I just think it's the ground, you know, she is ground dependent, I'm not going to lie, you know, she needs that bit of cut in the ground or just genuine good ground, so wherever, you know, we'll target most of the Group 1s, but we're going to be relying on weather.
2015, what did Paul Mulrennan make of his year?
Unbelievable, I couldn't have, you know, I'm very happy with my lot, it's going to be hard to do it all again next year.
Well, one of the good signs for you is that you have made it this year because you've been selected to come and ride in the Jockeys Challenge here in Barbados. How did that all come about?
I think James Doyle was meant to go, but obviously he's got commitments with Godolphin, and Tom Quealy put me forward to Jeff Lawton, and Jeff gave me a ring and he said, would I be interested? I said, yes, definitely, I want to come here. So that was it really. Jeff got me on the trip, and you know, it's a great honour to be here really, and there's been great jockeys come here over the years, and you know, the weather's unbelievable.
Terrible.
So no, it's great to be here. The people are lovely as well. They're looking after us great.
Yeah.
So
What about the Garrison Savannah as a venue? I mean, do you know much about it? Have you had a
no,
look
it's a very tight track. You know, Franny Norton said to me, it's just basically the same as Chester, but the opposite way round. But no, it looks a unique track. But I've ridden in India and I was in Mauritius last year. That's a very tight track. So hopefully that'll stand me in good stead.
And just a brief word on what 2016 might hold for you. How would you class your ambitions for next year?
Obviously, really looking forward to Mecca's Angel, Eastern Angel. Michael Dodds is going to have more horses than ever. I spoke to him before I come out. He's got nearly 90 horses in. He's had to build new boxes. So, touch wood, it'll be another fantastic year, you know.
Barbados, it's not just about racing and not just about sport. To really get to learn about the culture of this country, you've got to drink and eat it. And what better way to start than with a fresh, ice-cold coconut, one of nature's finest drinks. And so we're here at the Garrison Savannah for the Jockeys Challenge between Team Barbados and Team International. There's a wonderful atmosphere, the music's pumping, and the locals are excited. Let's meet some of them now. Andy, how long have you been coming racing at the Garrison Savannah?
Well, I guess around the mid-60s when my grandmother first brought me to the races.
And how much of foreign jockeys have you seen riding in the Garrison in your time?
Not a lot. Obviously, they don't come too often, but when they do, we certainly enjoy the moments.
And of the lot that are here for the challenge of Jamie Spencer's and Tom Quealy's, is there one in particular you're looking forward to seeing most?
Well, I kind of like Quealy because he seems to like Barbados more than the others, and that's important.
And what do you think the challenge is for the international jockeys riding at the Garrison today? What's the biggest thing they've got to overcome?
Obviously, it's a very tight track, but the local knowledge that Quealy, for instance, and Spencer would have had by coming over the last 2 or 3 years, that would make a difference. Especially this tight turn we call the paddock turn. If you conquer that, it's pretty much safe that you can do well here at the Garrison.
You must realize that our track is one of the most unique tracks in the world. So the quality of weather they get in the Barbados track, that's one of the reasons why Patrick Husbands And those guys, when they go overseas, they dominate because our track is more unique.
When you have a race of this magnitude, you get it pumped up. It's very hype, and the crowd makes it what it is. At least their input is equally as important as the jockeys, the top horses. Without the crowds, you have no races. So from that viewpoint, what they do here when they come to support is extremely important to not only to a day like this, but the horse racing industry in general.
Brilliant, brilliant. They have bring a plus to the Garrison Savannah.
And in your time coming to the Garrison Savannah, I mean, how many female riders from the local islands have you seen?
About 3 or 4.
Okay.
3 or 4.
So Sammy Jo Bell will be a rarity.
That's a plus to our circuits right now. I'm looking forward to seeing her ride.
Well, we want to find out a bit more about the history of racing here at the Garrison Savannah, and we've bumped into someone with a vast knowledge of life and indeed racing out here in the Caribbean. It's author and broadcaster Julian Armfield, who's had such a wonderful international history, Julian, around the world, but you spent a lot of time here in Barbados. What is it that makes this place and this venue, sporting venue, so special?
Rishi, as you say, I've been very lucky. I visited 100 countries. I've been racing in 100 different countries, but I can't imagine anywhere that's more vibrant, more colourful, and more fun than the Garrison. It's just a fantastic atmosphere.
And why do you think it's so different and unique from everywhere else and better?
Okay, well, largely because of the pumping music, the street food, the parades. We have wonderful parades here on big race days, and you get stilt walkers, you get dancing girls, marching bands, acrobats. It's all about movement and colour. But to answer your question properly, the fact that it's 6 furlongs in circumference, and bear in mind Chester's a mile, so it's very sharp. As you know, you're right next to the rail, and it's the only place I've been, and the only place I've been where I felt I could actually reach out and touch the horses, and that really is the essence of it. We're known as Little England, or to the racing community in the winter, Newmarket-on-Sea, when we get floods of famous faces coming in and having a ball here, you know. But racing is flourishing here, as I've said. My book, Absolutely Barbados, has a chapter on racing. And it's booming. 2,500 people are employed in racing, 300 racehorses. It's really booming. The bloodstock industry is doing well. We've just had a first Galileo stallion come down, Eagles Peak, who was bought by Richard Venn, I think, the agent. And Eagles Peak was with Michael Stout. Now, Michael Stout actually grew up just over your shoulder, overlooking the Garrison, so there's a nice link there. And of course that's where he fell in love with racing, and the rest is history.
Well, here at the Garrison Savannah, we have found the godfather of racing in Barbados, Sir David Seal, a man who has been involved in this sport in Barbados. So David, for just how long have you been involved in horse racing here?
Since 1963. So it's over 50 years.
And it has been a wonderful journey, a wonderfully successful journey for you, is that right?
Yes, yeah. We did quite well. I mean, it took me about 18 starts before I had a winner. In between, I had the first or 2 horses or so. One claim to fame was running 4th and winning $90. But I stuck it and went on, I set out really to keep the horses that I race at home, and I still do that. So basically I had to have a plantation to be able to have, and then I did the breeding.
And here in particular in Barbados, it's a country that has benefited from tourism enormously, and as a result from a lot of foreign investors. And do you feel that's helped the racing industry out here?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, we've had many, as we call them, expatriate owners come here. And of course we have fellas like Denny, Derek Smith, and those who actually live on island. And Derek spends a lot of money with Barbados racing.
But of course, your success is not just here in Barbados. You've expanded internationally, both in America and also in the UK. We've seen your colours carry to success
Yes.
by a few horses. Give us a brief reminder of some of them.
There again, that's a bit of a story. The first horse I had racing there, I bought off of Richard Hannon on the Thursday, and I called him up. I hadn't met him.
Yeah.
I called him up and he said, it's entered on Saturday. I said, sure, go right ahead. And it duly won the William Hill at Sandown.
Oh, right. Who was that? I remember the horse.
It was Western Isle.
Right. Western Isle.
1975.
Well, the mastermind behind this Jockeys Challenge here in Barbados is standing next to me, Jeff Lawton. Jeff, it's a beautifully organised operation that you've got, but it does take a bit of work.
Yeah, it is the third year, to be fair, so it's getting easier. I say it's getting easier, but maybe this year's been a little bit more difficult. But you know, everybody knows the place now. We know what we're trying to achieve. The guys enjoy it. They come out for what's really a holiday and just a little bit of work involved as well. But everybody seems to love it.
You say it's a holiday. For the locals, though, it's much more than that because they get a chance to see some of their heroes.
Oh, absolutely. You would be amazed how knowledgeable they are about British racing. There's half a dozen betting shops in the middle of Bridgetown, and you watch a close finish and they are so vocal. They love their racing out here.
And just give us the idea, because obviously everything is going through you in terms of organisation. Give us an idea of who else is involved, who are the other supporters in this project.
Well, my biggest supporter has been Rosette Pierce, who's the CEO of the racecourse. So we do a lot of work together. But there are people like Peter Odell, who is part of the Breeders' Association, who gives all our rooms at the Mango Bay Hotel where we stay. And of course we've got Nicholas Mote, who's part of the Anson McCall, who are sponsoring for the first year. And this could be a massive step forward for us, because I always said that I wanted this to be as big as Sandy Lane Gold Cup within 5 years. So to have a big sponsor on board is crucial to us.
The competition was over 4 races at the Garrison Savannah track, with points awarded according to the finishing position of each horse. Each team was made up of 5 jockeys, and Sammy Joe Bell, Paul Mulrennan, Tom Quealy, Christopher Griffith and Captain Jamie Spencer made up the international team. Well, a man who knows his way around the Garrison Savannah is Jamie Spencer. Jamie, when was the first time you rode at this track, and what were your first impressions?
I came here in 2011 to ride in the Gold Cup in March. Yeah, I'd say it's different, obviously. I've ridden in India, so it's similar sort of thing. I suppose the most unknown is you don't know the other riders, so that's the thing. You've got to gauge what they're going to do next. So obviously I know all Paul and Tom ride against them every day, and Sammy Joe, so you know what they're going to do. But yeah, it'll be interesting, and we've got to try and win again.
And with regards to the Jockeys Challenge, it's quite a nice idea in any respect, but to be able to spend time with the likes of Paul and Tom and Sammy Joe, it's quite a nice experience.
Yeah, it's a good experience. I'm good friends with the two lads. I'd see them a lot anyway, so yeah, no, it's good, and obviously it's nice to get away and break. This time of year, there's not much going on at home, and it's good fun thing to do.
And how would you describe the local interest? Because obviously they know you anyway. I'm guessing, but the first time you came out here, they would have known pretty much about all your rides and your riding style.
Yeah, no, they're very passionate about it. Obviously, they follow the racing in the UK a good bit, so yeah, it's good. They're kind of a dying breed. I had one fellow with a T-shirt on last year, Jamie Spencer Forever, but I think that's a one-off. But yeah, no, it's good, and you know they embrace it, and it's a huge crowd here for today, and they really get stuck into it.
And do you get mobbed? Do you get stopped quite a lot by people asking for autographs and selfies? Is that big out here?
Well, not as much as you, Rishi, but you know, for the normal human being that I am, yeah, a few people do stuff. But a movie star like you, it's a little bit different.
True. Spot on as always.
He's still alive, here he is. My one fan. Yeah.
Well, around the Garrison Savannah, you hear the shouts of Frankel, the jockey who rode Frankel. Tom Quealy. Tom, you never get sick of stuff like that, do you?
No, and it's the racing fans here they're totally fanatical about it, and you know they follow racing all around the world. You'd only go into one of the betting shops and you'll see that they're familiar with what goes on at Kempton as much as they are what goes on here. So it's a great place.
When was the first time that you came out to ride in Barbados, and what did you make of this place?
Yeah, my first experience was here this time last year for this challenge, and I've been back twice since to ride
I've struck up a bit of a friendship with the Seal family and that, and they've had me back on a couple of occasions.
Yeah.
And no, I like riding around here. It's a bit tight, it's tricky, but to liven up your bottle a bit. Tight fence.
And tell us about the locals, because they seem to be completely obsessed with racing in England, perhaps more so than the fans back home.
Yeah, they follow it. And they're like, they seem to love it bet, and they're familiar with all the names. So yeah, no, that's and they go mental like once the racing's on. So and that instills a bit of confidence in you, and they're following each mount you have and that. So I'm looking forward to riding now.
And what's it like in the weighing room with the local riders, as well as obviously your teammates?
Yeah, good. They're very welcoming. Although I suppose we're jumping on some of their horses, but no, they're welcoming, and we'll have a bit of crack as the day goes on, and enjoy it as much as we can, because it's a holiday atmosphere, and although there is a serious element, we've got to ride and keep our serious heads on. It's a holiday destination, so we make it that as well.
Well, helping to complete the team of international jockeys is Chris Griffith, who is a local-born rider, but you plied your trade in Canada. Chris, tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, well, I started racing here as an apprentice, and after my 5th winner in 1988, I went to Canada, and I've been based there pretty much ever since.
How did that switch come about? Who put you in touch with?
Actually, my brother, who's also a jockey here, he went to Canada the year before me, and he recommended that I give it a shot. I said I was going to go and try it for 6 months, and 25 years later, I'm still there.
From the gates, and on the Sammy Joe Bell opens off by 11.5.
Race Spartacus is 4 wide as they're over the pattern. In the purple silk system, off on the outside. They turn towards us now, and it's 9.69 of Chris Griffith on the outside. Tom Feely and Betty Green was also going to go up to press the issue, and 9.69 appears to be in trouble, and Griffith will pull that one. No more turns, and it's a 2-horse race up front. On the inside is Spartacus, on the outside my man go out west gets right-handed encouragement. Spartacus gets left-handed leather and dashes on again. My God, go out west will not go away, but Spartacus starts to drop now and he's going to get home, is it now?
On the inside is Ali Rose, on the outside Dazzling David shoots up, puts that white face in front. It is Dazzling David who goes on by half a length on the inside. Ali Rose is giving up, it is Dazzling David and Ali Rose, but this one is over. It is Dazzling David who goes on. Then there's one of the Sarah and it's there.
So that's it for this special edition of This Racing Live from the beautiful island of Barbados, where Team Barbados have trumped Team International, captained by Jamie Spencer. We bid you bye-bye.